That's a video of the young people singing and dancing to Ngapinde. That's the competition that we are running here. Anyone who can sing, who can play that video, reproduce that video, you stand a chance to win $50. I think the first $50 went to one young lady in Gweru in Midlands who was singing and dancing to that song. So we continue to encourage you to post your videos to that phone number there so that you can enter into the Mukomana Dancer Challenge. You submit your short dance clip to +44 790 700 3379. Anzingapinde Mukomana Mapurisa abvuma masoja abvuma chero maticha abvuma kuti Mukomana ngapinde zvake. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to your favorite program, Padare na Mambo Shoshe Nastatsikwa Nevakuru. We have one of the revolutionaries in Zimbabwe, Comrade Ray Majongue. You know him. Those who are from the teaching fraternity, you know that this man has been the Secretary General of the Teachers Union in Zimbabwe for the longest time. He has fought running battles with Mugabe. Now he is fighting running battles with Emerson Mnangagwa. He is one of our revered sons of the soil. Mkoma Raymond Majongue, I am a teacher, you are a teacher. Thank you so much for joining us. Please take a few minutes to greet our viewers and listeners.
I say to you and all the listeners,
the volume is gone. I think you're on mute. You're on mute.
I can hear him, Chief. No, you're okay. I can hear you, Mr. Majongue. Chief, maybe Muga Buddha Muzo.
I was wondering what had happened because I thought I was.
I don't know what's going on, but Mr. Majongue is on mute here. He is speaking, but we can't hear him.
Chief, can you hear me?
Or is it just me?
Yes, it's only you, Chief.
Estella, can you hear Mr. Majongue?
Yes, Chief, I can hear him. I will just.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Speaking?
I'm just going to call Chief and let him know that.
Just do something to the sound there.
I can hear both of you.
Yeah, okay. But it looks like Chief can't hear either one of us.
Leader, so you can go ahead. I don't know why I can't hear you, but I will have to go out so you can continue to greet the people because everyone is hearing you.
No, I'm okay. I'm saying well done for inviting me to your program, and I'm saying let's go for it. Let's get into the discussion.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Raymond Majongue. Chief had to drop out because he was having issues with his audio, but he's coming back very soon. But in the meantime, whilst we wait for him, we could just look at our viewers and listeners' comments. Um, the first one is from Dameri Karonga. Congratulations, Dameri. You're the very first one to comment on this live stream. And in fact, I noticed Dameri commented before we even started the live stream. She was like, "We are eagerly waiting." She's waiting to hear what you have to say, Mr. Majongue. Because on the topic of our live stream, we mentioned that teachers' unions flock to Chamisa's Convergence for change. Oh yes, Chief is back. Can you hear us now, Chief?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All
Uh,
right.
Miss Majonga, I'm sure you can hear me now.
I can hear you very well.
And I can hear you now. I think we can get started right away before the system gets in the way, because when ZANU PF sees that there's something good going on, somehow they find a way of going on, of doing something to what we are doing. Right, Mr. Majongue, I know you as a veteran trade unionist, as a teacher, but and also as a musician. Most people here don't even know that you have so many songs, over 100 songs to your credit. Maybe if you can just start by telling the people of Zimbabwe who is this man who is so brave against Robert Mugabe, so brave against Emerson Mnangagwa. Over to you.
No, I'm not going to post anything that suggests that I'm invincible. I'm a Zimbabwean who is humble, loyal, and honest to the cause of democracy. And I have been in the trenches from the time that I was at high school and went to the university, became a student activist, and became president of the SRC at the University of Zimbabwe, and proceeded to participate in formation of this teachers union called the Progressive Teachers Union of Zimbabwe that was founded in 1997. Apparently because we had discovered that we were just being pauperized by government. And from there I became Secretary General at Dynamos Football Club. I have 42 musical albums. I'm a singer by profession. Singing is my hobby, and I have 42 albums multiplied by 12, because each one of my albums has 12 songs, which means I have a discography of more than 400 songs. And of these, I think people know very few of my albums. Possibly the songs that they know come from the album called Dizzy, which many people mistook to be Thomas Mafumo. That was my voice, that was my creation, that was my artistic creativity, and that was my lyrical composition. And I want to believe it's purely because I was not given a chance by government, by ZANU PF in particular, to ultimately showcase the talent that was given to me by God. I am a poet, I'm a musician, I'm a composer, I'm a writer, and that is the list goes on. I'm a former rugby player, played at the top level, and I want to believe that I'm a citizen of this country, ready to offer the best, but have been denied the chance to ultimately showcase what God gave me.
Wow, man, you have so many talents, so many things that you are doing. I don't know how you manage to do that on your songs. I honestly, and I have to apologize for that, because I didn't know that you are the one who sang that famous song Diziri Pachinoi. You know, and you sing like Thomas Mafumo, and I understand you're friends. You talk to Thomas Mafumo.
Thomas Mafumo is my mentor. I have actually held a joint show with him in 2016. We had a collaboration. We did a musical concert in Leicester in the UK. It was quite a big success, and I want to believe that I will do that again once everything else normalizes, because it appears nobody wants to give Thomas Mafumo a chance, especially back home. And I'm actually saying it's actually a tragedy, because this is one of the greatest lights in terms of musical and artistic creativity, who has basically been denied the chance to showcase his talent, to showcase his musical prowess, and ultimately be there to groom many other young talents in the Chimurenga genre. But it's a tragedy because we have a very unforgiving political setup that has failed to recognize that musicians and artists must be allowed to sing what they want.
Wow, wow. To those who are just joining us, we are talking here to Mr. Raymond Majongue, the PTU Secretary General. And I'm just being blown away here by the talents of this man, a former rugby player, a singer, a trade unionist, a politician in a way, and also a teacher by profession, because he's leading one of the biggest teachers unions in Zimbabwe. Now, let's go to politics. I know you've talked about music, and to our viewers, we'll give you one song in the middle of our program so that you just get a taste of how this man sings. But let's go to the political arena. You fought running battles with Robert Mugabe, because you were there when Mugabe was there, fighting for the teachers' rights, fighting alongside the teachers. When I was teaching in Zimbabwe, in Masvingo, we used to reverence you. We used to listen to your addresses and everything, and even sometimes attend some of your gatherings. And I totally respect you. But now we are in the Mnangagwa era. Are you seeing anything? Is there any improvement in as far as teachers are concerned in Zimbabwe?
To be very honest and to be very frank, it's actually a tragedy, because the Zimbabweans have obviously seen Mugabe and Mugabe alone in terms of longevity, in terms of political leadership. And when Mnangagwa came, we really thought that he was coming to better the situation, both in terms of leadership, in terms of acumen, in terms of delivery, in terms of engagement. But when it comes to the reality on the ground, we have basically seen very little change, if anything. Salaries have actually gone backwards. Mugabe left us in 2017, teachers were earning $520. And then come October 2018, 1 year into Mnangagwa's leadership, salaries basically tumbled. As we speak, teachers are earning salaries that are moving between 100 and 150 US dollars, and the times collapsing well below 150 that we're talking about currently. It is actually a tragedy, because one wants to believe that the new dispensation that Mugabe, when Mugabe came off, when Mugabe was basically removed, the assumption was Mnangagwa was coming to better the situation. But we didn't see that. In actual fact, teachers are actually confirming that the past 2 years have been the worst since independence. In terms of conditions of service, we are seeing the worst. In terms of admin, consultations, dialogue and engagement, very little has happened. So as far as we are concerned, it seems we have actually gone beyond, we have gone backwards, worse off than what Mugabe was doing. And it's actually a big disappointment, because we really wanted the best in terms of progression. We were expecting something better. We were expecting better engagement. We were expecting proper collective bargaining processes, because you can't then tell us that in a country where we are boasting of 90% literacy, we are failing to achieve one basic principle of proper labor engagement, where we ultimately have a chamber where people meet and discuss and agree on salaries that are pegged in terms of what the law says. Because the Constitution talks of creating an enabling environment where labor rights are respected, salaries are pegged to a point where people get paid what they are worth. But in our situation, teachers are earning worse off than everybody else in government. And it's actually a tragedy, because we would have expected the situation where teachers, we have the experience, we have the requisite knowledge, we have invested so much in education, would then be rewarded for them to stay in the profession. Because it's said that a teacher who graduated in 1979 and has 5 university degrees, has a master's, is earning a salary that is only $43, more than 43 RTGS, more than what a teacher who graduated this year is earning. So there is no reward for excellence. There is no reward for attaining better degrees. There is no reward for experience. There is no reward for anything. And if somebody stands up and tells me that teachers are being paid what they are worth, you are obviously not telling us the truth. In this day and age, a teacher with 4 university degrees and is a headmaster is earning 29, 30,000 RTGS, which translates to less than $200. So how do you expect excellence? How do you expect the headmaster to become a role model to kids and the other fellow teachers who are basically joining the profession today? Because you're not rewarding them for excellence, you're not rewarding them for what they're putting across in terms of the effort, you're not rewarding them for the expertise that they are bringing to the profession. So as far as we are concerned, we are equally disappointed and we are not happy with what is happening, because it appears there's actually a clear attempt by government in the Second Republic to vandalize the profession, trivialize the relevance of the teacher, and basically pauperize us to a point where we become irrelevant and we are not stakeholders of note in this country.
Wow, powerful. And Mr. Majongue, you, in the face of what a government minister pronounced to the teachers that they have to borrow money for them to be able to travel to their working posts, and you also being, well traveled, you've gone to seminars, meetings where you meet fellow teachers, leaders, and you know the conditions of work in SADC and in other African countries. Can you rate where Zimbabwe is right now?
I think the truth of the most important point that I want to underscore is Zimbabwean teachers are the best in terms of capacity, in terms of comprehension, in terms of delivery. And you can actually, you don't need to go anywhere else. Just 3 weeks ago, the Rwanda president made it very clear that it's actually a blessing that they are Zimbabwean teachers and they are coming and gunning for them. But the question now is, why would Rwanda be celebrating our teachers? Why would South Africa be celebrating our teachers? Why would Botswana be celebrating our teachers? In many of the forums that we have attended, you go to a meeting and you hear people telling me that my college has failed to do very well because I don't have Zimbabwean teachers. You go to Botswana and you see a headmaster that says, I can't really be competing with the next school because they have met teachers from Zimbabwe, they've signed teachers from Zimbabwe, which means there is obvious, clear recognition of the quality that we exude when we go out there. But it appears our own government is celebrating that Rwanda wants Zimbabwean teachers, but they are not ready to award the same teachers better salaries. There is nothing that beats respecting the contributions of these professionals. We are talking of people who are patriotic. There's no patriotism that beats staying in a country where you are not respected, but you continue offering the best. And the patriotism that we are putting on the table is what the Mnangagwa government and the Second Republic are failing to realize. And I will say it with a very straight face, that in the meetings that I have personally held with President Mnangagwa, he has appeared very sympathetic, but it appears when it comes to delivery, nothing is happening. And that is the tragedy, because you speak to us and you listen to us, you acknowledge what we are saying is true, but when it comes to delivery, nothing is happening. There's nothing that is disheartening as saying, you go and engage the president, he promises to do A, B, C, D. Like the last time when I went to meet the president with teachers living with disabilities, they promised that they're going to give these teachers gadgets to assist them in providing service, laptops, computers, walking sticks, but none of that has been delivered. And I want to challenge President Mnangagwa yet again to say, you promised adults, teachers living with disabilities, computers, laptops, why not deliver that promise? Because we are genuinely waiting, and we came to meet the president in good faith, and we still maintain and retain that We are patriotic. We want the best for Zimbabwe. We want the best for our teachers, and we want the best for the education service delivery process.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like there's someone who is making promises, who has been making promises to the people of Zimbabwe, making promises to the international community, making promises to the regional community and regional leaders that he is going to be different. He is going to be the leader of a truly new dispensation. But from what we are hearing from Mr. Majongue here, that the promises that have been made to teachers are not being met. And those who blame teachers for sitting at home and for declaring that they are now going to be teaching for one day, I think you are hearing it from the teachers' leadership here, that there have been promises that have been made by Emmerson Mnangagwa himself that have not been met. And of course, the conditions of work have become the worst in the region, as you heard, and nothing seemed to be improving. So the teachers may be justified. So we're going to take a short break here, but before we take a short break, I'm going to give you some breaking news as we prepare to hear a song here from Mr. Majongue. Breaking news that we are just getting here is that Honorable Mavunga, one of the MDC Alliance members of Parliament who is attending a seminar in Victoria Falls, was abducted, briefly abducted by ZANU-PF hooligans, taken in a room, dark room, assaulted, persecuted, asked questions and the like, and beaten up whilst he was in there, obviously because they differed in the parliamentary session that is going on in Victoria Falls. That's the level, of human rights abuses that we are facing in Zimbabwe. Honorable Mavunga, one of our members of parliament from Chitungu, is briefly abducted and assaulted in Victoria Falls. Let's take a short break as we allow Mr. Majongue to drink a glass of water as we listen to one of his songs here. Stephen Zenda is saying, let the teachers also help. Okay, let's go. There's the song.
Kuti mutamba wonzi wabereka chingwa. Kuti mutamba wonzi wabereka chingwa. Chef.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't help but laugh. These are the kind of leaders that we have in Zimbabwe. You discover oil by exploring, by sending, technical people who are qualified to do it. But we have a whole leadership, an entire leadership that is convinced by a sangoma that there is a diesel somewhere. I mean, that desperation, it just tells you that we have no leaders in Zimbabwe. They are so desperate, they are so clueless, they are so idealist that they've resorted to listening to ngangas and sangomas for direction. So it's what maybe before we go into the politics that we want to discuss, can you just tell us here, Mr. Majongue, what was going through you when you were singing this song, and didn't you get in trouble with these men?
I was actually assaulted. I was beaten for writing that song, but I never wrote it because it was actually written for me by the print media in Zimbabwe. All I did was put the rhythm to it. I just composed a song based on a story that I read from the Herald, and I called some musicians, put some beat to it, and sang about it. Because that song is not anything peculiar. It's purely a regurgitation of the madness in this country. Because the moment you get to a point where you start believing such lies, blatant as they are, then you have a problem. Because any person who has gone to school, this is why I'm saying, if you are really going to believe that Mutamba can produce chingwa or Poloni comes from a baobab tree, then you have a problem. Because one would have only expected to simply say, even the advisors, to say, wait a minute, why is this woman saying this? But because we have tended to believe every other story, every other traditional and everything else, it comes to a point where ultimately we then betray ourselves. But nonetheless, I forgive these old madalas because we are talking about a situation where, because desperation creates challenges. If you are desperate, you can believe anything. But ultimately, you get to a point where you are saying, even in desperation, let your common sense remain awake. Don't allow people to come and tell you of things that don't exist because you're desperate. It's that desperation that causes confusion, that makes apostle or church leaders abuse women because they turn around, twist your thinking capacity, and make you believe anything. And at a national level, we don't want that thinking. We want to a point when we're talking about educational issues. The best way to do is to listen to what the ground is saying. What are the people saying? We are saying continuous learning areas cannot be introduced now because it's not the best thing to do. We are saying a new syllabus, a new curriculum can only be introduced when we've done 1, 2, 3. But because of foolhardy, some of our people think that everything that comes from their people is right. Because ultimately, they then abuse that goodwill that is exhibited by people because somebody just want to abuse and to prove that I am the might, I am the power, I am the authority. Ultimately, in leadership of countries, conscience, engagement, dialogue, and consultation are cardinal principles for success. Without that, if we become so full of ourselves because I am the military mighty general, what I say goes, you will fall and fall with a third because you are failing to understand that countries and governance, consultations and engagement are the cardinal principles for national success because victories that are shared are better because you know that you are being given advice by experts. Like we are saying, small as we are saying to government, continuous learning areas must be put on hold. Some of the areas that are being imposed in terms of the trust that government is coming up with, because we constantly said speed and direction are two different things. The speed with which you want to implement something and the direction must ultimately be incoherent. Now, if you are going to impose things and you rush the other way, doing the wrong thing, you ultimately create problems. And this is what we are saying to government. In terms of education, we plead with President Mnangagwa, let's engage, let's listen. And I want to believe that the new minister that has come has promised us a listening ear. We don't want just a listening ear, but we want them to ultimately not to take everything that we say, but at least put what we are saying for consideration. Because out of it, if they are going to be a good leadership, they must be able to say, we have these unions, they have certain experience that they need to, and once they take the experience that we are putting on board, because we are Zimbabweans, we are not Boko Haram, we are not ISIS, we are Zimbabweans who are patriotic, both in terms of outlook and persona, and all we want is the best for our education. We don't want to destroy our education process. Let's engage and let's take some of the advice that we are putting on board for consideration.
Yes, Gifty Mangwende Sibanda here is thanking you. Well done, Mr. Majongue, for your spirited fight for democracy and better working conditions for teachers. A former teacher myself, I wholeheartedly know and appreciate the sacrifices you have made over the years. You know, but what have you gotten from ZANU-PF? ZANU-PF has accused trade unionists like you and civic society. You have all come under fire, recently of trying to enact regime change. And of course, currently happening now, we are seeing the ultimate closure of the democratic space in Zimbabwe. We've noticed that the attacks on President Nelson Chamisa in Masvingo and in Mutare. Your comments on that?
I've just noted that one Abigail Tagwire commenting there is the former vice president of the PTUZ.
Oh,
she
nice.
left Zimbabwe and she left Zimbabwe and she's outside Zimbabwe. I don't even know where she is, and I pray that she's well. A very critical component of our struggle at the time, and I want to believe that I'm happy because I see you and you are making comments to the effect that we need to continue fighting. And I think, comrades, salute wherever you are. The struggle continues.
And she's looking very well. She's looking very well. So no doubt she's okay.
As far as I'm concerned, the question that we have asked, I think it's a tragedy. Because the moment we want to believe that any person that criticizes President Mnangagwa, any person that criticizes ZANU-PF is an enemy that must be bashed, that must be killed. I think it's a tragic thing. We must grow out of politics of violence and vindictiveness. Zimbabwe has come a long way. Mugabe taught us politics of hate, politics of victimization. I myself am a victim of political hate. Today, the 24th of October, I left remand prison in 2002, and it's the day that Majongue died. Today, 24 October 2002, I was in prison with Lenmo. I've been detained for 14 days at remand prison because I was championing the cause for teachers. It's a tragedy that in this country, any person that stands up to fight, to say better this, improve this, must be sent by the Americans, must be sent by the British, must be an enemy of the state, which I want to believe is nonsense. Raymond Majongue was speaking the language of saying improve teachers' salaries, improve conditions of service for teachers. That has nothing to do with America. How can America come and tell me to say a loaf of bread is costing more than a teacher is earning? Why should America tell me that? Why should America tell me that a teacher can't send their own child to school where they teach? Why should America tell me that a teacher can't afford underwear? That is the tragedy. And when you speak like that, you become an enemy. Every day you see people following you, they are threatening, they are telling you things, you receive messages. But we have gone beyond that. We will not be scared to stand up and speak. And I want to believe, even when I met President Mnangagwa, I never went there to Baba Zirai. I said to him, Comrade President, things are wrong and things must be put right. We are Zimbabweans first, and nobody must tell us what to do. When we say teachers are citizens, we mean it. We must not be intimidated by anybody, by the CIO, by the soldiers, or by the police. And what I'm saying is it's actually a tragedy that when Chamisa is moving around, he then has to go about scouring for cover because people are waiting to throw stones on him. Allow the people to say we don't want Chamisa on their own. Don't go out there and beat him for it, because at the end of the day, you then create a hero that he might not be. Let him go out there and the people reject him when it comes to the ballot. It's actually a tragedy. We must understand that democracy has since moved on. We are not in a war situation. When these guys went to war as 16 and 17-year-olds, when they left Mount St. Mary's, where the vice president left the Mount St. Mary's, where I was also a student later on when I went there in 1985, and we knew that when I left Mount St. Mary's, we were celebrating them to say they left here when they were young boys and they went to Mozambique to fight. They were fighting for democracy to protect everybody. And ultimately, we must respect them for that role and contribution. But ultimately, it would be wrong for them to then go about beating other citizens because they also want to rule. It must be a democratic right for everybody who wants to ultimately become a leader in this country to say, I think I'm right, I want to participate, I want to also to become a president, and nobody must be stopped once they believe that they have the necessary acumen and everything else to say they want to be citizens, they want to be leadership in this country. So it's a tragedy if we sit there and we say people get beaten and we don't talk about it. We must stand up and say we are opposed to people who then go about threatening anybody. It's wrong to assault Chamisa. It's wrong to beat up his convoy. It's wrong to throw stones. Allow the citizens to decide for themselves.
Powerful. Someone just wrote the ED and his regime do not have respect for teachers because Iwo Wakaroama teacher Nereken. And it's interesting that you were at Mount St. Mary's Parusunzwapo. Ndokumshakwa chief iko kuwedza kwana chiwenga ukwa ndotoshaya kuziva kuti ndakabva kumwe chete nebenzi rakadaro chirudzi. But I'm glad that you were at that great school, Mount St. Mary's in Wedza. Now, moving on towards the end of our discussion, the keyword, the buzzword, Comrade Majongue, now is convergence. Convergence. People are talking of coming together. Your thoughts on that, and are teachers on board?
I want to believe that a lot of these things that are happening, some of them we can't discuss about them publicly, but the most important point that one wants to put across is Zimbabweans are Zimbabweans, and allow them to meet, allow them to discuss, allow them to share experiences. And I want to believe that as teachers, we will allow our members to go where these ideas are being shared, and we also allow our own teachers to go to the ZANU-PF Congress or ZANU-PF conferences, because that is what democracy is all about. Democracy is about sharing experiences. Democracy is about proposing what is best for yourself in the country. And I want to believe going forward, the issues of convergence, these are not new things. These are issues that must be allowed to be spoken and discussed about freely. Nobody must be commandeered to be beaten or threatened because they have participated in any of these things. Because ultimately it's the right of the citizen to ultimately say, I have made a choice, and this is what these guys went to war for. When they went to war, they were saying they were fighting for the right to say one man, one vote, the right to be heard, the right to speak, the right to assemble, the right to speak, and the right to be safe after speaking. So these are the rights that we must be enjoying as a country, as a citizen, and that's all we are saying. And nobody must be persecuted because they have decided to go and discuss and engage. But even though when it comes to my person, I've always said I will not discuss my own political intention with anybody because I want to believe that is my right. But nobody must be persecuted because they've attended anything to do with somebody, what somebody wants to call a people's convergence. It's the right of Zimbabwe. Let them converge where they want to and discuss what they want to, and nobody must be intimidated because the rights that we are given by the Constitution are quite clear. You have a right to join a trade union of your choice.
Mm-hmm.
You have a right. You have a right. So as far as I'm concerned, I want to believe these rights are what Chiwenga, Mnangagwa, Mugabe, political choice.
Well, looks like Mr. Majongue is having network problems there, and for wasted decades. Very sad indeed. Stephen Zenda, yes, they always preach about them going to war, but I strongly believe that this batch of losers we have in the government never went to war. People who really went to war would never want to see their countries in shambles as it is in. We're getting Mr. Majongue back so that he can round up what he was saying, and we move on to the last question. Abigail Sauri Tagire is saying citizens first, and there was also here a comment from another teachers union leader. Looks like we have many teachers here today. More Blessing Nyambara, a senior member, a senior official with ATUS. And we have war veterans of this country who fought the oppressors of their time. Let us fight the oppressive system of our time, fellow teachers. It's time to become the veterans of our profession. We invested a lot in our education and profession to die in poverty. We should not be forced to resign because of the poor wages. Let us fight for our worth. The fight is a noble one. That's a more Blessing Nyambara, a fighter, a member of ATUS, who has been arrested several times, just like our comrade here, Comrade Raymond Majongue. You can round up what you were saying, Leader Majongue, and also just give us a roundup on what you think should be the way forward of Zimbabweans, addressing Zimbabweans in the diaspora and Zimbabweans in Zimbabwe. Where to from here as we head towards 2023?
I just want to say cowards die countless times before their actual deaths. Citizens in this country must realize that they reserve the right to participate in politics at whatever level that they want. And the intimidation will always be there. But remaining resolute and resilient in the face of accusations and allegations is what will take us forward. As citizens in this country, we must not be intimidated because people visit us at night. We are survivors. The moment we stand up and say, understand what we are doing. When we are fighting for salaries for teachers, we are being patriotic. We are looking at the future of Zimbabwe. If we abandon the struggle for better welfare, we are condemning the future of this country into the abyss of chaos and confusion, because we are going to produce citizens, a young generation that has no bearing, that has no focus, that is bent on nothing more than surviving on handout. We want to work for what we want to work and basically get the best from our own government. We must never decide to ultimately say, let's abdicate responsibility and run away like many of us have done. But those that can still stay here, let us fight. And those that have left, continue supporting those at home, because it becomes our responsibility, both those within and without the country, to stand up and defend what are legitimately our rights. Nobody should take those rights from us, no matter who they are, whether armed with guns, axes, not carries or stones. We are Zimbabweans, we must stand up and fight, and ultimately stand up and say, victory for what we have stood to fight for is a victory for the future, and the nation and the world must realize all we are saying is, we are saying Zimbabwe belongs to all of us. Poor and rich, powerful or not powerful, we are citizens and nobody should take that right from us.
Wow, powerful. Thank you very much, Mr. Majongue, for the insightful discussion. We appreciate the work that you are doing on the ground. We appreciate you standing up against Robert Mugabe, standing up against Emerson Mnangagwa, and standing up for the rights of teachers across Zimbabwe. Please continue to do that. We want to thank you for the music that you have produced, inspiring music, and all the work that you have put into the struggle of Zimbabwe. You have committed your lifetime to the democratization of Zimbabwe, and to, rights of teachers in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for that. And to all our viewers and listeners across the world, we want to thank you for being with us. We want to thank you for the support. And to my leader, Estella, in the background, thank you for making this program possible. Until we meet again, God bless you. Thank you.
And thank you to our viewers and listeners. We have 2 videos that were submitted for the Ngapinde Hakem Komana challenge. So please don't be in a hurry to leave the channel. Just stay for a while and watch these 2 videos. I promise you, they are very entertaining.
Thank you.
One. Dar. Urbo. I'm Greetings.